Kyler Murray is big enough. This is Tom Brady. He's not just going to retire. Whitey, big fan of the show. Appreciate I've got Ryan Murphy to my left, making sure everything's smooth, crispy, buttery. James Harden is systematically ruining the game of basketball. He's the most overrated player. And there you are, the Chicago Bears with a championship defense. And Mitch, I'm sure Dancing with the Stars is happy to have Antonio back. If you thought you were going to get Zion, that's your bad.
You are now listening to Open Season. Your host, Billy Allen.
Welcome. It's another Tuesday night. That means you're tuning in to Open Season, and I'm your host, Billy Allen. I'm sitting here with Justin Elaine, Alex Tordai, and Frankie Bradica. And we got a whole lot to discuss tonight, everybody. Lakers won the title in 6 games, 4-2, winning the game 6, 106-93. And bad, that's got us talking about the GOAT, LeBron versus MJ. Anthony Davis says that he's got no idea regarding his free agency, and Jimmy Butler vows that they'll be back, but will they? As New England's game was pushed to next Sunday, we've got a matchup of the couple unbeaten teams, the Titans and the Bills, going at it. Dak Prescott got injured pretty bad. Everybody's hoping for good things there. And the Cleveland Browns are surprising people. 4-1, looking pretty good. But first, we got to start out with the Lakers winning the title in 6 games, and that means LeBron is a 4-time champion, a 4-time Finals MVP. What does that mean for the GOAT discussion, guys?
It helps make it more clear and obvious that LeBron James is the best overall basketball player who's ever stepped on a basketball court. Go ahead.
Oh, so that's it? You're just going to state that he's the best and give no reasoning. That's fair. LeBron is not the greatest of all time. This did not make him the greatest of all time. Jordan is still the greatest of all time, and I don't even know if LeBron has claimed the number 2 spot over Kareem. I mean, guys, we need to pump the brakes on this. This is just getting out of hand.
And we got one ringing through right now. Who do we got on the line? Oh, here we go. We got one ringing through right now. Sounds like we got, is this Eddie Bratz?
Yes.
How you doing, my man?
Am I live on the air right now?
You're live. Talk to us.
Sorry. Well, I don't think it's close who the greatest of all time is.
No?
I think it's still Michael Jordan. I think LeBron needs to beat someone other than the Little Sisters of the Poor to prove himself. Because the reality is, who has he beaten?
He beat a 73-win team in the regular season, and he also beat a San Antonio Spurs team that were knee-deep in a dynasty run of 5 championships.
He beat that Spurs team because Greg Popovich decided to leave Tim Duncan off the floor.
He beat the first team because LeBron decided.
Let him go, Frankie.
For whatever reason, and they got that offense. They got an offensive rebound when Tim Duncan would have been on the floor. He probably would have got that rebound. Tipped it out to Ray Allen from UConn, by the way, who saved LeBron from losing another finals. And wasn't Draymond Green suspended for that 73 against Golden State?
He was suspended for 1 game in the series. Yeah,
for kicking another grown man in the groin. It's not exactly like he just was suspended for no reason.
The supposed greatest of all time, LeBron James, he lost with the second coming of the Dream Team in the Olympics. You can't lose in the Olympics when you are in the NBA. That's the rule.
Oh, are you going back to Olympics? If we could talk about how good Carmelo Anthony's resume is, if you want to talk about.
I'm just saying though, Michael Jordan, they literally destroyed everyone that they played, and LeBron couldn't even. I mean, his team was absolutely stacked, and they couldn't even. They finished in 3rd place.
The international game in the '90s versus the international game today is not comparable.
It doesn't matter.
Course, what do you mean it doesn't matter?
But just looking at, here's the thing: LeBron's obviously a good player. Maybe he's a great player, but he's definitely a good player. I mean, he's an athlete. I mean, he's a big guy.
Maybe he's a great player.
Yeah, maybe he's a great player. I mean, I don't know. The guy's got no heart whatsoever.
He's got 4 rings and 4 Finals MVP. He's got no heart. Other people have won Finals MVPs. Other people have won Finals MVPs, averaging him to a 29-point triple-double.
They lost to Nowitzki and a 45-year-old Jason Kidd.
Triple doubles are so overrated, though. Triple doubles are such an overrated stat. It's like, congratulations, you got a lot of rebounds, you had a lot of assists, you had the ball in your hand the whole time. Like Russell Westbrook was getting triple doubles out the wazoo when he was teaming up with Kevin Durant. That doesn't make him a better player than Kevin Durant.
Well, if it's so rare, how come LeBron is one of the only? He's 6 times averaged 25, 10, and 5 in the finals. No one else has done that more than once.
Well, he probably has the highest usage. I'm assuming. But going back to LeBron, though, I mean, don't you agree that he literally has some type of self-esteem issue where he needs like recognition? Like, even in his speech, he said, I want my damn respect. Well, that's not how respect works. You earn respect. You don't. No one.
I recall Jordan after the second championship talking about, well, now that I have multiples, you got to start talking about me like I'm Bird and Magic, and that's been my goal, is to be up there with those guys.
Yeah,
he knew it at championship too.
Respect.
And he also says it much different than LeBron does.
So we're
LeBron
into
is a
semantics
condescending a-hole.
So we're into semantics now. Guys open to schools, got 4
LeBron,
finals
LeBron's
MVPs.
he's just a low self-esteem beta athlete who just happens to have a good body. I mean, that's really all.
6'9", 260.
He just happen to have good genetics.
In year 17, is still being able to do this, Eddie? You don't think anything? I mean, you give no credit. 4 finals, being able to do it with 3 different teams, starting over a couple different times.
Starting over, he had picked who he wanted to play with. If Jordan got to play with whoever he wanted, he would have won 100 championships. Come on. I mean, be real. Be honest. Come on.
That Chicago Bulls team that he played with, the year that they were without him, they still won 52 games. They almost won. If Scottie Pippen was a little bit better, maybe they end up winning another title. I mean,
I don't recall him getting over the hump without Scottie Pippen either. Like, until he had a Hall of Famer, I don't recall Michael Jordan being a winner.
Scottie Pippen went to like a Division III college.
Sure, but before Michael got that
Jordan wasn't
division,
going around saying, "Who do I need?" They were gonna draft players, and Jordan was gonna work with them to make the team better. LeBron doesn't do that.
Totally agree with you, Ed.
LeBron doesn't make guys
he didn't make the Lakers any better, Eddie. They missed the playoffs for 6 straight years before. Then LeBron comes.
Yeah, well, they had Anthony Davis. I mean, I don't know. Does he count? He's like the second best player in the league.
They were 5th in the West last year before the groin injury.
And we got Eddie. We appreciate you calling in. We got another one ringing through right now.
Thanks for the call.
Hi, you're live on Open Season. Who do we got?
Hey, look, I know everybody's talking about who's the greatest, and I truly believe that, everybody's want to say Bird because you're up in Boston and whatnot, but I think we're forgetting about the great Spud Webb.
Oh, no. Who the hell is this? But seriously.
Spud Webb. He won the dunk. No?
I mean, sure. He won the dunk contest, but I mean,
the great Spud Webb.
I mean, you got to come up with a little something better than this.
This guy's hammered. Let's get him off the air.
All right, we're gonna cut this guy. Too bad we hung up on Eddie there. That was a good little back and forth that we had. I thought that was gonna be somebody else, but
all right, I'm gonna talk about LeBron.
Yeah,
I haven't said a word yet.
Give Justin the floor, guys.
All right. So I agree with some of what Eddie was saying. However, and the reason why I don't like LeBron are some of the reasons he's talking about off-the-court issues, but we're talking strictly basketball here. LeBron James has been appointed the greatest of all time before maybe he got to the Heat. Like, he was the king. He's the greatness. He's everything. His career, it's been a phenomenal career. And people that say he's not top 2, I'm sorry, Alex, you're out of your mind. But to think that he's better than Jordan yet, the questions about Brady of being the greatest yet, he had to get to 4. When he got to 4, he got to 5, he got to 6. That's when he was the greatest. Do I think LeBron can win a couple more before he's done and pass Jordan? Absolutely. Then we can have that discussion. But right now, that discussion cannot be had. He's won 4. He has not won 6. And the ones that he lost, that one where they lost the Spurs without Ray Allen, he's down and he's negative in these finals, and that's what the crap they were giving Brady for years is, if he loses this one, he's going to be 3-3 and all this stuff. But I'm sorry, he's not there yet. Let's have him do it a couple more times, and he will, because that team's dominant if those two stay together. But let's push the brakes a little bit. When his career is over, then we can have that conversation.
But guys, if it's all about rings, then isn't this discussion over and we're saying that Bill Russell is the greatest of all time?
it's not all about rings, but rings are a huge defining factor in greatness. Magic Johnson has 5. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 6.
He has
Larry
Kareem
Bird,
has 5.
Kareem has 5?
Yes, look it up.
No, Kareem has 6.
Kareem has 6. We looked it up last week.
Kareem has 6. We looked it up last week, bud. So Kareem is the other guy with 6. Bill Russell, he played in an era where you can't really it's
Cincinnati
tough to
Royals,
really
anybody?
compare it to
Rochester
today's
Knights.
NBA. It's just so night and day. And you also have guys like Shaq and Kobe and Tim Duncan. Shaq having 4, Tim with 5, Kobe with 5. And I just think that LeBron's in that conversation with that group of guys, and he's not at Jordan level yet. And he's been trying to anoint himself as Jordan level since he was making the finals and losing, getting his butt whipped.
So in today's world, I feel like it's what have you done for me lately? Can we all agree when we watched the Jordan documentary, Billy included, that Jordan was the greatest of all time? After watching that. And now because LeBron wins another one, all of a sudden he's the greatest of all time. Correct me if I'm wrong, he's still too shy behind Jordan. Granted, the way that LeBron has adapted to the NBA is phenomenal. All of a sudden he can shoot threes. He's the freaking point guard, 35. It's amazing what he's doing. But to appoint someone the greatest of all time, his career's not over yet. What if LeBron got hurt tomorrow? He's never playing again. Is he the greatest of all time?
No.
Michael Jordan.
I think you could definitely
certainly
make
not.
the argument, and that's what this is all about. You can at least make the argument. I mean, the guy's 3rd all-time in points, 8th all-time in assists, 13 all-time in steals. I mean, he's got the best winning rate in terms of closeout games. I mean, he's been in the finals. There's been like 57 finals games over the last 10 years. He's been in like 51 or 52 of them. I mean, it's like this guy's dominance over like a 10-year period has just been off the charts, and it hasn't mattered where he's gone. He's gone to 3 different places and been able to show you that he could do it.
It's mattered where he's gone because there have been future Hall of Famers and All-Stars with him at every stop with an unbelievable cast of supporting role players. It is ridiculous that we are continuing to make this argument.
Robin and Pippen are Hall of Famers.
If you put Jordan on that Lakers team, they might not even lose a game to the Heat.
Robin and Pippen aren't Hall of Famers.
Robin and Pippen are Hall of Famers. Yes, they
So what
are.
are we talking
But
about?
who is a better player, Anthony Davis or Scottie Pippen?
Anthony Davis.
All right.
So to LeBron's credit, I will say last year before he got hurt, they were the 4th team in the West with a bunch of young, like Ingram's nasty, but he wasn't Ingram last year. Kuzma was much better last year than he is this year. And Lonzo Ball he was getting better. But I'm sorry, you cannot, this is a debate once his career is over. It's not over yet. And it's hard to compare players from each era. They're different eras. We can like Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell. We're talking about Hakeem, whatever his name is, or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Sorry, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. They're all different eras. They're all different basketball styles. It is what it is. LeBron can play in any era. We can say that. We can all agree that Jordan and LeBron can play in any era and be that dominant.
So could any guy that you just mentioned?
I don't agree.
Michael
No,
Jordan. has-
who out of that group of players wouldn't be as dominant in any era of basketball?
Who was Bill Russell being guarded by in the 60s?
Bill Russell is I already said
As
that Bill
Felger
Russell.
always says, a guy named Dolph who was 6'5",
The guy that
wearing
was-
belts and
the guy
Get
buckles.
Bill Russell out of this conversation. We're talking. We'll go Kareem on from that list. Kareem, Bird, Johnson, Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, Kobe, Shaq. Name one of those guys that wouldn't have been as dominant.
Alex, we're talking about today's era where it's all 3-point shooting. Name a big man. I mean, Anthony Davis is more perimeter shooter now than he ever was a post man.
He's shooting over 40%. He shot over 40% from 3 in the finals.
Hakeem a lot-
I don't know if Duncan would be as good.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is famous for the hook shot. He's great. He's
But
probably
if
the one
he's being
best.
guarded by Bam Adebayo.
Exactly. It's completely different styles. The credit to LeBron is he's become a great 3-point shooter. Not great, but a good one. And what he's best at over any of his other qualities and skills is passing. He's now the point guard. He's the best passer, one of all time. I think we all agree that. At least big man.
Jordan's never won a playoff series where he wasn't favored.
But to me, if I had to win Game 7, I'd choose Jordan over LeBron. I don't even think that's a debate.
You don't
I'm
know
sorry.
how Michael Jordan would play a Game 7 because he's never been there.
Well, that's because he closed them out quick.
Yeah, sure. But he had always had the better team.
Would Jordan have let
When
the
he
Heat?
did
Would
have-
Jordan have let the Heat win Game 5?
LeBron's got a better winning percentage in elimination games.
Well, it's
I mean,
that's
so
'cause
if you
Jordan's
don't
never
take
been in
if
an
you don't take
elimination game.
Yeah, but Jordan wouldn't let that game go to 6 games. That series would have been over in 4.
He also had the better teams, is what I'm saying. LeBron James can take 4 guys from the YMCA and get them to the NBA Finals, and that is something Jordan can't do.
Yeah, I think you have to look at the fact that Jordan was on a team, too, that when he was removed from it, they still won like 52 games or 55 games or whatever, and still almost made a significant run at the championship.
And he took a year off to play basketball and then won 3 straight championships.
No, he didn't. He took a year off and then lost to Shaq in the playoffs, and nobody talks about that, despite it being the exact same year as the double nickel game.
The what game?
Double nickel, 55 in the Garden, happened the exact same year that Shaq bounced his ass in the playoffs.
I'm wrong there. I'll admit I'm wrong. I don't
Jordan
know.
would have won 8, really, because he came back in 95 and effing lost.
Everybody
before
watched
the
that
finals.
documentary, and we all said Jordan's the greatest, and now LeBron was 1-1, and now it's like, oh, LeBron's the greatest. Like, I'm sorry.
It was
not
Jordan
how that
propaganda. It didn't change the needle.
Oh
It
my
shouldn't have moved the
God.
needle for really anybody. It was great film. It wasn't analytical. It wasn't something that should have changed anybody's opinion about his career.
Well, we have a pretty good clip from Chris Broussard actually talking about how this continues. What this does do is continues the debate, and Brian Murphy producing the show. Let's let that one rip.
Chris Broussard is joining us again. All right, Broussard, did LeBron winning change the GOAT debate at all in your eyes?
Look, here's what it did is it kept the debate going. If LeBron
we got one
had
ringing
lost
through here,
the finals or
and
not
you're going to be
gotten
live
there,
on Open
not gotten
Season.
Finals MVP. In many people's eyes, it would be over.
Of course, it had to be mid-clip. Hi, you're live on Open Season. Who do we got?
This is Lux from Maynard.
Hey, Lux, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I got a question for Frank.
All right. Talk to Frank.
Why is LeBron better than Jordan? I never thought we'd be having this conversation, Frank. But go ahead.
If you tally up, if you create a player from scratch, LeBron is better at more things than Jordan. Jordan is the greatest scorer of all time, probably, but LeBron is better at more things. He's been better for longer. LeBron had the expectations of being the world's best basketball player at 15 years old and has outlived those expectations. Michael Jordan is great. He's what do you want me to tell you? He's the second best basketball player of all time. LeBron James is going to end his career leading the league in points, and he might lap Jordan in rebounds and assists. I mean, Michael Jordan's great, but are we just going to dismiss the fact that LeBron's been probably the most dominant player we've seen since Shaq, since Wilt?
And he's got 1,500 more points than Jordan did in the playoffs also. I mean, so if Jordan's the top
Jordan
scorer.
also played less games, though. And LeBron's been dominant for this era. All right, since 2003, since he came in the league. I'm not disagreeing with that, even though he's gone 4-6 in the finals, which is putrid. But how do you not think that Jordan is the most dominant player of all time? He goes 6 for 8 in finals. He's never lost the finals.
Because he played 13 years. So for 7 years, he was a loser, and for 5 of those 7 years, he was bounced in the first round. How about that, though?
But and you're saying LeBron's never lost in the playoffs. That's what you're trying to say.
I said LeBron has never lost when he's been favored in a playoff series. When he's had the better team, he's won. And several times when he hasn't had the better team, he's won. Jordan's never won without having the better team.
You're telling me he wasn't favored against the Mavericks, Frankie?
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay.
He's 1-4. He's 1-4.
Laid an egg against the Mavericks. He scored 8 points in one of those games. You know that? The lowest Jordan ever
Did you
scored
know that
Yeah, how
Larry
many
Bird?
years-
Hold on. Did you know that
Hey,
Larry Bird scored 8 points, and 12 points in his first finals,
not
and that
talking
Cedric
about Larry
Maxwell
Bird.
was the MVP? I'm just saying it happens. Kobe Bryant didn't win a Finals MVP until his 4th ring. It happens sometimes.
Larry Bird was in his, like,
We're
second
not talking about Kobe. We're talking about Jordan. We're talking about LeBron. I still don't think how you could say LeBron's a better player than Jordan. He's gone 4-6 in the finals, and Jordan's just a perfect 6-0. I just don't.
LeBron's
If it's
played-
all about the finals, well, then we're talking about Robert Ory in some of these discussions. I mean,
No,
I
that's-
just don't think
get
it's
that out of here.
it can't be all about the finals.
Get that out of here, guys.
We're
Get that
talking
out.
about LeBron and Jordan.
It can't be all about the
That's the
finals. And
conversation.
Jordan also washed up on a league that was all about effort and grit in the 90s. Those guys weren't very skilled. This is the most skilled the game has ever been.
The 90s was stacked.
The 90s was not stacked.
the quality of player was not as good
Thank
as
you.
it is
That is
today.
that is one of the biggest misnomers
and
in all
and
of
even if
sports.
you look
90s.
on ESPN,
Get back.
they did a poll on who played in a tougher era, and I mean it was hands down LeBron.
It's LeBron.
Guys, if we're saying that
LeBron has
championships aren't everything,
They're
isn't that
LeBron
how
has to
isn't
go
that
through-
isn't that how we matched up Brady with
So who's
how
on
he's
the
the
phone here?
GOAT?
Am I on the phone, or are you guys just talking?
No,
talking
yeah,
about your
let him talk.
Go ahead.
Okay, LeBron has to go through teams like the Celtics with no Isaiah Thomas. And then Jordan has to go through teams like the Knicks with Patrick Ewing, who is arguably the greatest team to never win a championship. And he had to dethrone the Pistons. And then later in the 90s, he's beating teams like the Magic with Shaq. I mean, I don't think
he didn't beat Shaq with Penny healthy. He didn't beat the Celtics with Bird healthy. He didn't beat the Lakers healthy.
The 90s wasn't stacked with the East.
It
At
wasn't.
Least in the East. LeBron's making it from the East against much worse teams than Jordan was making in the East.
So the
in the 90s.
Celtics of this generation are better than Craig Elo's Cavaliers? You know you're wrong about that, right? And just so we're clear, LeBron has beaten, 3 teams with 3 or more Hall of Famers on the roster? Michael Jordan never did that. Michael Jordan never beat another team with more than 1 Hall of Famer on it except for the Jazz.
Who?
The Jazz?
Who did he beat with 3 Hall of Famers?
The Golden State Warriors?
Is Draymond Green a Hall of Famer?
Draymond Green's going to the Hall of Fame.
Is he really a Hall of Famer?
He's got 3 rings.
Are we sure he's a Hall of Famer?
Oh, man, this is a whole nother debate.
Hold on. No, it really shouldn't be. Tiny Archibald is a Hall of Famer. Dolph Shays is a Hall
So
of Famer.
is Bill Walton. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Bill Walton's got an MVP and 2 championships.
I totally agree with everything Mike had to say, though. Lux had to say everything.
And I'm not
on
just
point.
saying. I'm not just saying that as a Boston fan, because I think LeBron's a coward and just a piece of crap as a human being. I'm just saying that looking at the stats, looking at Jordan, because Jordan was just an invincible, godlike figure when it came to the playoffs. And LeBron has just choked in the playoffs time and time again. That's all I'm saying. I don't think.
I mean, the guy's 35 and averaged a triple-double in the final.
You know Michael Jordan and sneakers lost that series, right?
Choked in the finals.
Michael Jordan and sneakers never won a game.
Ever when he chokes in the finals, Frank.
Sorry, God and sneakers never won a game that series. He scored 63 in the Boston Garden and never won a game that series. He was a loser before Pippen. He was a loser before Pippen.
He had weapons with Pippen, and LeBron's had weapons in every team he made the finals with, except the 07 Cavaliers, which he did carry them by himself.
Yep.
But then
and 16.
He lost to the Spurs. And
what about 16?
He had Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving.
Both were injured. In 16, both were injured.
Kevin Love still played in the finals.
No, Kevin Love didn't play in the finals. Kyrie was injured in
Either
game
way,
1.
they got destroyed. So what? Like, congrats.
They
you
were
made
up
it to
in
the
game
finals.
6 at home.
Congratulations. You made it to the finals. You got rocked. And with the Heat, he had an unbelievable supporting cast with tons of Hall of Famers. How many Hall of Famers were on those Heat teams? Rashard Lewis, Ray Allen.
Rashard Lewis is a Hall of Famer now?
Rashard Lewis is probably a Hall of Famer.
Oh, my God.
If Draymond
Ray
Green-
Allen, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade are. There's 3 for you right there.
There's 4 Hall of Famers he's playing with.
Yeah, because Ray Allen was in his prime, averaging 7.5 points
Unbelievable
a game.
knockdown 3-point shooter, though.
Yeah.
He didn't stand that 2013 to Game 7 by himself. That was all Ray Allen. Without that Ray Allen shot, we're not talking here about.
Correct, but that was still one shot. It was a huge
one
shot,
one
but it was
shot in the game.
It was huge, but it was one
A
shot.
clutch shot, which LeBron can't freaking do, by the way.
He had hit 3 threes in the fourth
LeBron
quarter.
has a higher percentage. His percentage in clutch situations is higher than Jordan's.
That's because he's taking way less.
Because he's taking more shots, he's had more
He's
opportunities.
made more
Jordan's
shots
beat,
on
he's
less
putting them
shots.
away.
What are you talking about? If he goes 3 for 3 and Jordan is like shooting 40%, but he shot like 80 of them, what does that matter?
If he's made more and taken less,
Oh
then
my
he's
God,
made
give me
more.
a break,
That's
dude.
better field goal
Come
percentage
on.
and more wins. I don't understand.
That's not a good point.
Well, hey, anything else? What we got you on the line?
I think I pretty much spilled my guts out. My blood's pretty hot because I thought Frank was a friend. Maybe you can just go be a coward with LeBron, Frank. And I hope
Lux.
to see you guys too.
Lux, Jordan is.
Well, hey, we appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, you too. Oh, that was great. Friendships are getting broken on the open season show. Happy to hear it. Yeah, so I mean, with that, I think we should pivot a little bit to, there's got to be some decisions for the Heat. Obviously, Jimmy Butler vows that they'll be back. I don't really see this Heat team kind of coming back and being as, as competitive. And, do you guys think that the Heat are going to do something for Giannis? What do you guys, and what do you see for the Celtics moving forward? I guess let's talk a little bit about that.
I think the Heat are going to come. I don't think they'll be. Let's face it. This year, the Nets weren't they didn't play. Their star players weren't there. They beat the Bucks, which was big, but I think the Bucks come back better because they have no choice. But they have to get better, or else Giannis is gone. 76ers were hurt. I just think the Heat got hot at the right time. They were a typical playoff team that, in like most sports, they get hot. They have a good glue together, and they play hard. Unless they get another star, they won't be back, though.
The biggest
I
buyer,
agree with you.
yeah, the biggest buyer right now has to be the Milwaukee Bucks. They know if they don't win a championship this next year, if they don't even make the finals, there's 0% chance Giannis is sticking around. He's out of here. I was just reading an article today. Windhorse was saying that there's a great chance that he could go team up with the Mavericks, who will have max cap room in 2021. Pair him with Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. Holy cow! I mean, either the Mavs or the Heat. Either one of those types of a situation where you can sign him outright or trade for him, whatever it might be. This is just an insane, that's a power, that's a super team, if you will. And I also think that the Celtics will be, big buyers as well after how close we came to being where we need to be. I think my dream trade scenario is us making a move for Rudy Gobert and trying to get him with the Celtics. He could walk from Utah for nothing next year. There's some, usually when the media is getting wind of some sort of a controversy in the locker room, there's really one there.
How are you
It
gonna?
seems to be like there's.
How are you
one
gonna
there
get
with
Rudy?
Donovan.
You gonna trade Hayward back to Utah where he's hated?
And
I don't-
smart.
That's our only trade asset.
Is he hated? If he's back playing for the Jazz, do you think that they will boo him?
Do you think they want him back?
You don't
If
have
they
to-
had a better version.
You could-
Donovan Mitchell came
What
in
are
is
we gonna
much
do
better
with
than
all
Gordon
our
Hayward.
draft picks, Justin? We have a
Well,
14,
we all know what
27,
Danny will
30
do.
of the overall pick.
Danny's
He's got to
gonna use
make
them and
trades.
put them in Maine.
Yeah, exactly.
We know what he's going to do. He's going to use them.
come
and
on
put
down-
them in
Yeah,
Maine.
we're gonna create the All-Star team up in Maine.
Come
that's
on
for
down to Portland, Maine. We have the best G League team in the history of the G League.
Listen, Giannis should go to the Warriors because I think that would make for an interesting storyline.
Oh God,
I
I
know.
would hate that.
I would hate it too.
I think the Heat would also be nice. I think Giannis is a superstar in the wrong era. I just don't think his shot will ever be good enough. I think he's like Baby Shaq, and the problem is he's not quite big enough to be unstoppable. Like if he had an extra 3 inches and 60 pounds, it might be something different. But I think he's a superstar. He's a weird superstar in the wrong time for his skill set.
I don't think he needs to become a better shooter. I think he needs to become a better passer and a better dribbler. Because if you put shooters around him and he's a good passer, that changes everything. He doesn't have to shoot. I mean, compared to what he was shooting 3-pointers 2 years ago, I mean, his free throw is the worst thing that he has. He can't hit free throws. But his 3-point shot compared to what it was 2 years ago, unlike someone we know, Ben Simmons, who can't develop a 3-point shot, I mean, he's wide open, granted. But if he becomes a better passer and they put some actual scorers, not like Kyle Korver and all these washed-up guys, put like Wesley Matthews, put some actual talent around him.
He needs no. Those guys are correct. They're rotational guys. They're fine. Get Bledsoe off that team. He doesn't fit. Why you chose him over Brogdon
Of
didn't
course.
make sense.
Choosing him over Brogdon.
It's the starters that are the problem.
I agree. And
The bench player, Kyle Korver's fine if he's giving you 12,
but
15 minutes a
Middleton
game.
should be the third star, not the second.
Agreed.
They need a second star.
Agreed.
Totally agree, Justin.
Middleton's a good player.
But
Is he an
because-
all-star? No.
My point with the Shaq comment is that because he is as he is, that second player must be a great perimeter offensive player.
If you had an elite point guard like a Damian Lillard, that's never going to happen. But an elite point guard that can take over games and not rely on Giannis to do everything, I think that changes everything for that team.
I mean, here's the thing that's exciting if you're a Bucks fan. If you're
Nothing.
their GM, there's the opportunity that Giannis walks, right? So those picks that you're giving up in any deal, if things don't work out with whatever superstar they trade for, Giannis could walk, and those could be extremely valuable draft picks. And that's I think something that's going to be definitely talked about with these NBA GMs that are dealing with the Bucks, because they're going to be trying to get a Bradley Beal or someone else. I mean, I think the package of trying to go for both Wizards backcourt players would be the best thing that could happen in that.
I think the team that no one's talking about that would be a great team for him to go to would be Portland, because McCollum be the third star. Their center Nurkic Nurkic, he's a good player.
What will they
And you
give the Bucks though?
No, I'm saying to sign him.
Oh, will they
they
have
have-
max
do they have a
cap
max
space?
spot?
They aren't going to have max
Why
spots.
won't they have
They're
max
one of the
spots?
highest paid teams in the league. What do you mean?
Who do they have? They're paying
They're
on that
paying-
team.
They're paying
they're-
everyone.
For the record,
Nurkic, Lillard,
whether they should be or
McCollum.
not,
Yeah.
they're paying
They're
Whiteside.
paying every.
Whiteside.
They're paying
Whiteside.
Nurkic.
Oh, they're
Whiteside's a free
paying-
agent after this year.
Dude, they have 3 guys right now that, they are locked into max money. They do not have the amount of cap space that they'll need to sign Giannis next year. It's not happening. One of the highest payrolls in the NBA.
I don't think it's one of the highest.
Nope,
but-
it definitely is.
Okay, well, you get rid of all those bench players and role players that they're paying, and then you create cap space.
Somebody has to be willing to take them in a league where the cap's going down next year. Somebody's got to be willing to take those players.
Exactly. Cap's
Well,
also going down.
That's the NBA's problem.
No, that's Milwaukee's problem.
Well, as we air out the NBA,
Portland Trailblazers, number 1 payroll in the NBA, $140 million. Number 2, Milwaukee Bucks. Sorry,
Who the
go on,
hell
guys.
are they paying for
number
that money?
3 is the Heat.
Well, then maybe Dallas was a good choice. That'd be an interesting pairing.
Celtics at 23. Wow. All right. Go on,
Celtics
Billy,
at
sorry.
23, but I still feel like they still don't have
They
a
haven't
lot
paid
of
Tatum
space.
yet.
Yeah,
they
that's
haven't
right.
paid Tatum.
That's right. Well, as we kind of talk about that, we should transition over to the NFL. We've got a good one going tonight between a battle of undefeated. Tennessee is up 21-10 at half, and a couple teams there going back at it. You got Josh Allen and going against Derrick Henry and the Titans. But New England having their game pushed back to next Sunday. Jason McCourty kind of questioning whether the NFL and NFLPA cares about player safety. I think the answer is clearly no there, and that they just want to cash the checks as fast as they can. But, the biggest news of this weekend really was the Dak Prescott injury. And another thing that I think is BS was Stephen Jones saying that Dak is our future. What do you guys make of this after they didn't sign him? They signed him to the franchise tender, and then they say that that Dak Prescott is the future. Is Dak Prescott the future in Dallas?
That was hilarious when he said that. I agree. I think he's still the future in Dallas, but only because the contract situation has changed and they're going to get him at a Dak discount. And Stephen Jones also said Dak's injury is not going to affect contract negotiations. Of course it's going to affect contract negotiations. You're out of your mind if you think it's not affecting good negotiations.
Yeah, that dropped the price tag down. There's no $40 million per year that he's going to be able to get after this injury, I'd say. He's definitely going to be taking some type of discount.
I feel terrible for Dak, honestly. But there were offers on the table. He wanted more. Me personally, watching the Cowboys every week this season, they have an elite offense. They have talented receivers, one of the best running backs in the league, a good offensive line, but it's hurt this year. Their defense is so freaking bad. I honestly feel like if you put another quarterback, I'm not saying that Dak's the problem, obviously, because he's the one leading them. Put that money in the defense. You can get another quarterback. Like, if they keep losing, wouldn't they be in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes? Aren't they 1-4?
I don't think anybody's going to be as bad as the Jets, but or the Giants. But I don't think they're going to be able to.
I don't see the Jets.
He's out of there.
The Darnold?
No.
No,
Daniel Jones is
Daniel
absolutely
Jones.
gone if they end up with a pick that nets them Fields or Lawrence.
I just think those two teams have so many other issues, whereas the Cowboys, if you don't give Dak that contract and you sign some defensive players, let's not forget, Byron Jones is gone. Their 2 best linebackers are hurt. But if you put that money towards their defense and you get a young quarterback that's on a rookie deal 4 to 5 years with this offense, I think that team's better fit than they are right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that we've been saying this for a while. Dak is kind of like that talent where you could probably go back in the draft and look and try to grab like another fourth rounder, third rounder, somebody that's you kind of took in the Dak spot. But yeah, I don't know. I think Dak is kind of not the smartest guy. He said no to a 5-year, $35 million deal, and he decided to bet on himself. And I don't want to say anything like as tough as this is what you deserve or anything like that. But it's the risk of doing business.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I thought you were done. My bad.
No, that was pretty much it.
No, I mean, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, this is the opportunity to tank, man. Tank away. I mean, Andy Dalton's so good, though. I don't think it's going to happen, man. I think he's good enough where they're going to have a winning record. But if you're playing that game, if you're playing Madden GM mode right now, you're tanking. You're franchising Dak Prescott. You're taking
For
one of those
38?
top tier quarterbacks. Yes, you're franchising him so you can trade him.
38,
and
8.
you are trading him to another team that's willing to pay him that kind of money because they are willing.
No
to
one's
pay him.
going to want to pay him
Yes,
that money.
yes, they are. He's
Someone
gonna
is
get,
going to pay him that
He's going to
money,
get $30 million next year in a 1-year deal.
Okay, so if he's not
Dak
the athletic,
Prescott?
If you think he's not going to get the Phillip Rivers deal in Indianapolis 2.0, you're wrong.
Philip
If you
Rivers
think
is a
that's
passer. Dak Prescott's not. He's more the athletic. He is the whole package.
Are
but
you?
Dak is a passer.
Dak was leading the league in
you?
passing yards
He
before he
looked
got hurt.
fan-
Let's put
Fantastic.
Dak Prescott on a team with not two, and I think CeeDee Lamb's an absolute stud. Let's put him, and he has Ezekiel Elliott as his running back. What did Dak Prescott do when he didn't have Ezekiel Elliott?
When he had Terrence Williams as his best receiver, he was still putting up passing numbers. He was losing, but he was still putting up passing numbers.
He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league when Ezekiel Elliott went out.
Winning-wise. Completion percentage.
Did you watch the games?
Sure, but he still threw for touchdowns. He still had points and yards. He still moved the team down the field.
Oh my. Okay.
He didn't.
I think he's highly overrated. I feel bad for him. I really do.
I
It's a
think no
terrible injury.
quarterback-
I agree. I
worth
think
what
he's
he's gonna
highly
get paid.
overrated too.
He's having a great year. I won't he was an MVP candidate so far this year. I'll give him that. But his team's also 1-4. Granted, if they win 4 games this year, they'll probably still make the playoffs because that division is worse than the AFC East.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you there. That division is absolutely trash.
I mean, I think Andy Dalton could be the best quarterback in that division right now.
Well, Danny Dimes looks horrible, and I'd like to know what happened. to him
And
because
Carson
he looked
Wentz
good
is
last year.
just like a mess. So
Carson Wentz just can't get it together.
And Alex
That's
Smith
a product
is
of the
quarterback
team
right now.
around him. That's a product of the team around him. Carson Wentz can't plant his foot in the ground for a 5-step drop and not get hit by a defensive player.
Carson Wentz is. I don't think anyone in that locker room believes in Carson Wentz. I think they all believe in Nick Foles.
Yeah,
and
they
then
all want
signed him.
Foles back.
That's a
I don't think they want him
sidebar,
back.
but
They
it's
just
true.
signed him that huge contract, and there were so many other holes. And then they never give him receivers. Like, what is wrong with you guys?
Rosters run their course. If you were to put Carson Wentz, if you were to take him out of Philly and you put him into the offense in Kansas City, he's an
Or
MVP
Dallas.
candidate. Or Dallas. Carson
Yes.
Wentz is still a great quarterback. You need to have a team around you to win.
A
the
great
media makes
quarterback-
the media makes it so much about the player and doesn't talk about the O-line, how important the offensive line is, how important the supporting pieces, the coaching, the play calling, and so much of that is wrong right now in Philadelphia.
So when they won the Super Bowl, before he got hurt, he was the MVP candidate.
Yes.
And
He
then
was
Nick
gonna
Foles
walk
came
away.
in, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yes, because they had a great team.
Okay, so
Yes.
now that he doesn't, I'm sorry, but I'm watching Joe Burrows light up the freaking field. I'm watching the guy from San Diego do amazing things, but nowhere
I was
near the
just going to
talent.
say, Herbert.
Like,
what does
both
Herbert
those
have
teams
around
have
him?
better wide receiving talent and offenses than the Eagles have right now. 100%.
Okay,
You're telling me you would rather have the Eagles team if you're a quarterback, you'd rather have the talent the Eagles have at wide receiver, their O-line, than you'd rather have the Bengals with all of their weapons and the Chargers with all of their weapons.
Have you seen either of their offensive lines?
Yeah.
They're the worst in the league, and there's
The Eagles are the worst O-line in the league.
No,
they're
they're not.
terrible.
I mean the Bengals have a
The
really
Beng-
bad one. I mean they get sacked.
They
I mean
have
Burrow
gotten
gets
better.
sacked a lot.
and Herbert.
They have got both teams are below average O lines. Sure, I think the Chargers are actually a little bit higher.
I was just
but-
gonna
I
say
think
Herbert's
the point
O-line
is
isn't
that
that
if
bad.
you have a stud quarterback, they can overcome some of those things. I mean, obviously,
Sometimes, yeah.
obviously Carson Wentz, like you give him some excuse if he has, if he doesn't have the best line. But you look at a guy like Herbert who has a lot of guys hurt on his line, and he's still being able to make plays as a rookie.
Granted, you put Carson Wentz on the Browns, and he's
But who's-
doing much better than Baker Mayfield.
But
is.
who's he making plays to? Great wide receiving talent.
He has great tight
The
ends.
Eagles have their number one wide receiver is a rookie who's been hurt all season. They've got a ragtag crew of wide receivers out there. Give them a break.
All right, well, let's give you a break and take one from a caller. Hi, who do we have?
This is Cody from Quincy.
Cody from Quincy. Hey, I saw you burning up the comment line. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Frank gets me a little charged up, so I thought I'd, give him a call and see how he's doing. How you doing, Frank?
Doing
How's it
good,
going
buddy.
over there?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Frank's
I'm doing
grinding
good,
everyone's
man.
gears
So-
tonight. Frank's not making any friends. What do you got, Cody?
So you guys, I think we're overanalyzing this whole quarterback thing in the NFC East. You take a look at who's playing quarterback. You got the Red Rocket throws 20 picks a year. You got Daniel Jones fumbles twice every drive. You got Carson Wentz breaks his ribs every 3 weeks. What you got in Washington is Alex Smith, the only guy who takes care of the football and doesn't turn it over. Washington Redskins division champs.
You can't possibly believe that. You can't possibly believe that.
I wouldn't be surprised. They have the best defensive line maybe in football.
Washington?
Yes.
That's not a reach. Their defense in general.
Their
has been
defense
really
is
good.
pretty good.
Yeah, sure, but their offense is in calamity. They're not going to win more than 4 games.
Another
That's
example
all you need.
of a
That's all you
trash
need.
offense.
And the NFC East is all.
Washington's
Sorry,
offense
the
is
caller.
trash.
Sorry, continue.
No, that was it. That was it. The
Did he
caller's
leave?
gone.
Oh, he is. Oh,
The caller's gone. Oh, he hung up.
I just
Oh,
can't
all right.
imagine.
We didn't hang up on him. All right, good.
I mean,
All right.
I mean, we can talk
Well,
about talent all day.
Cody was in and out. You got to like that.
The Cowboys have the most talent, but they look terrible.
Cowboys invent ways to lose. I'm never worried about the Cowboys. In my lifetime, the Cowboys have been absolute trash.
But to me, I would have kept with Haskins because this team, let's see what he's got. I don't think he has anything, but at this point, Alex Smith is a great story, but what is he actually going to do?
He's going to get you Trevor Lawrence. He's going to get you.
So
the
would
one thing
Dwayne
that might
Haskins.
change your
He's
franchise.
gonna complete 9 passes for 37 yards. I didn't think Alex Smith's yard per pass could get any lower until I saw him.
Who'd they play against? The Rams, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who like
Have Aaron Donald,
Ramsey
Aaron
shut-
Donald sacked him 6 times
Yeah,
in like a half.
Okay, Ramsey shut down their best offensive weapon. The Rams have actually been really good this year.
Surprisingly, their defense has also been really good. Not quite as dominant as years past, but it's been really good.
Washington offense is disgustingly bad. So,
But
it's the same thing as the Eagles. They've got one legitimate stud talent at wide receiver.
Look at the rest of the NFC
They've also got
East.
running backs.
You can win 3 games, 4 games, and win and get in the playoffs.
The NFC East?
Yes,
Yeah, that's a fair point.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it wouldn't shock me in the least if they got in.
The Eagles are going to win.
The Eagles.
They have the best coach and the best quarterback.
I have
even
the
if they
least
suck
faith
right
in
now.
the Eagles.
Oh, I have no faith in the Eagles, but that's a shit division. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I got to pick the tall, small person here. It's the Eagles.
Well, we were kind of talked about Herbert a little bit, but we actually have a clip from Colin Cowherd talking a little bit about Herbert. I mean, the guy has been an absolute stud so far, and we just have Colin Cowherd fawning over him a little bit. Let's let that clip roll.
I don't want to hear about Michael Thomas wasn't there for Drew Brees. Stop. Okay. Justin Herbert's a rookie. Okay, he didn't have his starting right tackle, his starting right guard, his starting running back, and his best receiver, Keenan Allen, got hurt end of the first quarter. And he went on the road against Drew Brees and was a better quarterback, and it wasn't close. Passer rating, the kid, without 2 of his offensive linemen, and the Saints have one of the best pass rushes in the NFL, 123 passer rating. 4 touchdowns, no picks. You can do so much more with Justin Herbert than you can do with Drew Brees. They move the pocket out. He's got a rocket arm. You can throw it deep, short. It doesn't matter. The question now is, will the Chargers screw it up? That's the question now. Because where you land matters in the NFL. Sam Darnold, punctured by his team. Josh Allen, you'll watch tonight, elevated by his. Look how long it's taken Baker Mayfield to finally get a grown-up as a head coach. Oh, Baker looks pretty good. Where you land matters. And the Chargers have a good GM and a lot of talent. But what a shock. Last night, the coaching wasn't good, and the special teams lost the game. This kid has led in the last 3-4 weeks. He's led Mahomes, he's led Brees, he's led Brady in the fourth quarter.
So that kind of gets back to my point where, like, a good quarterback, obviously we can make excuses for quarterbacks, but I think that a guy like Carson Wentz, at this point, he's a few years in, he's shown flashes of the talent. I mean, if he's good, he's got to be able to overcome a couple injuries. And, I mean, obviously he's got some things going on, but you're looking at this kid, Herbert, and what he's able to do as a rookie, what he's been able to do against some of these top-flight teams. I mean, this guy's airing the ball out 60 yards the guy has absolutely looked, unflappable as a rookie. And, I think that just kind of brings up the point where if you're a good enough quarterback, I mean, we've seen it over the years, but a good enough quarterback should be able to overcome that. I mean, you look at Russell Wilson. Their team is giving up the most yards. They're giving up 471 yards again. This is the most ever through 5 games, and they're 5-0. And that's just a point of how good Russell Wilson is. Obviously, we're not going to say that these guys are as good as Russell Wilson, but I think it just shows the point that at some point your quarterback should be able to make up for some of those mistakes and injuries.
I mean, Justin Herbert has played the Bucs, the Saints, and the Chiefs, and he's been in every single one of those games. with a terrible defense. Granted, that defense is really banged up. It's exciting to watch. I really didn't have much faith in Justin Herbert when he got drafted out of Oregon. I don't know. I thought his last year he didn't do that great, but the kid's got talent. He's got poise, and it seems like he makes the right decision. And for a rookie, that's pretty hard to find.
I would love to pump the brakes on this Herbert story. Look, the guy's prototypical. He's 6'5", he's 240, got a rocket arm. He can move the pocket. He's really good. He's played 3 games. And I'm not convinced when anybody plays 3 games that they can do anything. I had the most question marks about him coming out of the draft, and I still do. That's not to say that he can't play. That's not to say that I need to see it forever before I can believe in it. But can we just pump the brakes? He hasn't looked like a master of poise. He hasn't not made any mistakes. He is suffering from a lack of talent on his defense. James going down hurts. Ingram and Bosa have both suffered from a lack of training camp. But he has not been as great as 4 touchdowns on Monday Night Football will do for you. David Moore has, I think, 3 touchdown games on Monday Night Football.
Who do you do it against?
Ooh,
David Moore.
Oh, I can't recall.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
I can't recall. My point is you have primetime warriors.
Yeah, but I just feel like,
translate
Frank,
that
hasn't
into
he at
careers.
least shown you that he has flashes? 3 games in, doesn't he have at least flashes to show you that he could be a pretty good quarterback
He
in
has
this league?
solidified the fact that he should have gone before Jacob Fromm. He's not going to be better than Burrow, and he's not going to be better than Tua.
Yeah, he'll
This
be better
is
than
not
going to be better than
Linsanity.
Tua.
He's not going to be better than Tua.
This is not Peyton Hillis rushing for the Browns. This is not Linsanity in the NBA. This kid has shown unbelievable talent, arm, poise, maturity. He looks fantastic out there, and and I've been saying for weeks, I think Herbert's going to be the best of the bunch out of the whole draft class of quarterbacks this year.
I mean, Burrow's definitely going to be, but
I don't know if
The best
I don't know
quarterback
if
in
you're
this class
correct.
is Tua.
Oh
You're
man,
silly.
wow!
Josh Dodd.
Tua was just named the starter actually for the Dolphins.
that was a dumb thing. Fitzpatrick they just beat the 49ers.
Tua's
Well,
better.
wanna
I
build
wouldn't
for
play
the
him right now.
future.
Don't get me wrong. I'm an honest person. I wouldn't
Yeah,
play
if
him.
you're Ryan Fitzpatrick, you got to be saying, I've been usurped a few times in my career, but I didn't think after destroying the 49ers it would happen.
But let's all I don't have a magic 8 ball in front of me, but can we all say Tua is probably going to struggle or get hurt, and Fitzpatrick will be back?
Hold that thought. We got one ringing through. Hi, you're live on Open Season.
Yo, it's Whitey from Queens.
Whitey, you here to talk Pittsburgh football?
Yeah, you guys are spending all this time talking about Herbert, Tua, Burrow.
There's another
How come no one's
4-0
talking
team.
about Big Ben
here comes
Roethlisberger this
Claypool.
year?
Okay.
Yeah, the Steelers looking pretty good. What do you got to say about that?
I got a lot to say about that, but I just think it's crazy. I mean, the media, no one is talking about Big Ben. He's coming back from a devastating elbow injury, multiple surgeries, and he's got this team going 4-0, and he's more efficient than he's ever been in his career. He's got 10 touchdowns. He's throwing 70% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 1 pick. That's it.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Whitey. I think, we talked about this, but, Ben Roethlisberger was looking like a moose in the offseason, and I didn't think he'd ever get in shape or be good enough to come back. I thought I'm completely shocked with how good Ben Roethlisberger has been. When you look at the AFC North, do you think they're the biggest surprise so far, or do you think the Browns have been a bigger surprise?
I mean, maybe some people got the Steelers as a surprise, but not me. They were 8-8 with nobody at quarterback last year because they got an elite defense.
But you thought Ben would come back like this?
Honestly, it was a crapshoot. Who knows? But his arm looks great. Like, apparently he's had this elbow kind of injury kind of lingering throughout his career. That can probably explain why he's thrown like a lot of picks. But his elbow is looking right. He's not throwing picks this year.
I think the Steelers are the best team in that division so far.
So, Ben, what did Ben give up this offseason? What changed? Did he go on a diet? Oh, wait, right. He gave up porn and booze, right?
He went on the TB12 diet.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't suck.
He gave up porn. That's something he publicly said is he gave up.
What a difference maker, man.
But he's showing his escapability. Like, I'm watching him. He looks like Big Ben, like his rookie year. Like, he's escaping tackles, and he's running out and, like, dropping dimes. And, like, I don't know. It's just crazy. No one's talking about the Steelers or Big Ben, his revenge tour. I mean,
I totally agree with you.
You look at Claypool having his coming out party this past week. You realize Claypool should have had 5 touchdowns. They called one back based off of BS offensive pass interference. He didn't even touch the guy.
Whitey, would you say that going into this year, you would think that the Steelers' defense would lead them to like that? That's gonna be the strongest part of the team. And Big Ben just had to manage the storm, make good decisions, hand the ball off to James Conner. They have good talent on the wide receivers, but it has been a big surprise. I honestly think the Steelers, to me, have been the best team in the AFC so far.
Yeah, and I mean, they haven't really played. I mean, they've played Wentz and Deshaun Watson. They got locked. I mean, Wentz kind of had a coming out party to his own. But you realize the Steelers' pass rush is no joke. They got 20 sacks in the first 4 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
No
T.J.
team
Watt
has
is
ever
a
had
wrecking
20
ball.
sacks in the first 4 games since 2001 Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, T.J. Watt is unbelievable.
Yeah, and the Ravens have taken a big step back.
Like, okay, so they kind of been gutted, in the secondary a little bit, but their front line is ridiculous. You saw what they did to Saquon Barkley the first game? Negative yards.
Your defense is legit. The Steelers' defense is absolutely legit. I said it in the offseason to I got a friend who lived in Pittsburgh.
I'm
lifelong
shocked that
Steelers
I'm getting
fan.
such agreeability with you guys.
They're great. I think Big Ben is going to suffer down the stretch. I don't rely on him to stay healthy, and because your team needs to, I think at some point that'll come back to bite them. But defensively, they're legit. Defensively, they're going to be a top 5 team when it's all said and done.
I don't think they need Big Ben to lead them anywhere. That's the thing with this team.
They showed that they can go 8-8 with Duck Hodges and whoever else you want to play on that team.
Yeah, I thought that the coach was a joke forever until last year, and he really showed that he is actually a good coach.
Yeah, Tomlin's a good coach. I mean, people who say he's a bad coach, they're idiots. They don't know what they don't know football. They're like, okay, he made a few mishaps in like the X's and O's. Well, whatever. This team comes hungry every single week. Like this Eagles game this past week was a classic trap game, and they were resilient and won that game. Another stat for you guys. So the Steelers have 36 tackles for losses over the first 4 games, most by any team since 2008.
Yeah, I mean,
so they're dominant against the run. I think they got to improve their pass. They got to improve the guarding the pass. But I think this defense, along with Ben, like playing efficient football, getting the ball to his stud receivers, like Deontay Johnson, Claypool, Juju. I just think this team is like no one's talking about them. I think they had a legit shot at challenging anybody.
well, moving forward, Cody Carlson says that they have Cleveland, Tennessee, and Baltimore coming up the next 3 weeks. How do you like them faring over the next 3 week stretch?
So they got Cleveland. I think they'll beat the Cleveland Browns because the Browns, all they can do is run the ball. I mean, Baker Mayfield's not really that great of a quarterback, and the Steelers are among the best in the league at stopping the run. You just heard the stat I told you earlier about tackles for losses. Ravens is going to be a battle. I mean, we took the Ravens to overtime last year with Duck Hodges. So that's going to be a battle. That could be a loss, whatever. What's the other team you guys mentioned?
Tennessee.
The Bills?
Tennessee and then Baltimore. And
Yeah,
Tennessee's
these
looking
are
pretty
all
good right now.
Tough games. Yeah, these are all tough games, but I think the Steelers could probably manage to go 500 or have a little more W.
You mean there's only 3 games, so it'd be like, you think 2-1?
Okay, yeah. I'm saying 2-1.
Cody,
I think they'll beat the Titans.
Cody says that Pittsburgh's played nobody, Whitey. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't played the best teams, but they've shown the more important part is to see like what they've shown. Their defense is shown to be elite. Big Ben has shown that he's completely back, and now he's got Claypool as a weapon. I don't think Big Ben has ever had a weapon like Claypool.
Speaking
this guy
of
is an
Steelers,
absolute beast.
They've had the best receivers like every year.
You guys are a wide receiver factory.
They have great wide receiver development. But speaking of Steelers, former Steeler Le'Veon Bell has just been released. Wanted
Wow.
to get that out since we are on the air. Wanted to be.
Just look at what Le'Veon Bell has done since he's left Pittsburgh.
It's been bad.
It shows you the
He
quality
doesn't
of,
have an
like,
offensive
franchise.
genius coaching him, so what's he going to do now?
Oh my God, that's an utter dumpster fire. I mean, I'm a New Yorker. I hear the local sports talk every day. The Jets are an absolute dumpster fire. I feel bad for Sam Darnold because if he was on any other team, you're looking at Herbert, Josh Allen. All these quarterbacks are thriving because they have good coaches. I mean, it's just an absolute dumpster fire.
Where do you think Lev goes?
Let's see. Definitely not. Whoever's saying he's going back to the Steelers they're high. I'm sorry. he's not coming. He's not welcome back in the Pittsburgh locker room.
They
We
tried
don't
to.
even
They
need him.
tried to trade for him this offseason, or the offseason before, didn't they?
Patriots, 49ers, Eagles.
I'll give you two teams. The Vikings, if Dalvin Cook's actually really injured, and the Chargers.
Yeah, that's a good fit.
I mean, I think
Vikings
he'll
would be
definitely.
great.
I think he'll definitely be a lot better than what he's been with the Jets. I mean, leaving Adam Gase, who's like 31st in every category possible under the sun. He's only got to get better. But I mean, God, he has been an absolute piece of trash since he left Pittsburgh.
How do you release Le'Veon Bell and not fire Adam Gase?
It's
because they want that number one pick.
I'm
convinced.
convinced
They know that keeping Gase locks up that number one pick.
I'm convinced Gase has got some some naked pictures of Woody Johnson somewhere, something like that. Guy should have been fired last year. He should never gotten a head coaching job anywhere. Everywhere he's gone has been terrible.
Yeah, not to pile on, Adam Gase is absolute trash. The fact that he was so bad in Chicago and got a job right away in Miami. The fact that he was so bad in Miami and got a job right away in New York. How is he getting? He's like a worse version of Jeff Fisher. How the hell does he keep getting jobs after being bad at his job?
He's an offensive-minded genius. He was the quarterback coach for Peyton Manning. Yeah, he did a lot there.
Yeah, he held a clipboard and let Peyton Manning coach.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Ryan Tannehill went to the AFC Championship game. When he was with the Dolphins, he was terrible.
Well, Whitey, any parting thoughts? I mean, you gave us a lot of good stats tonight. Anything before you go?
So I wanted to originally complain about, after getting my heart broken by the Yankees over the weekend, I wanted to call and rant about so I'll make it quick, because it's off topic. But I just wanted to rant. Justin, I guarantee you'll agree with me. Analytics have completely destroyed baseball. Baseball is absolutely unwatchable at this point.
Yep.
It's either a walk, a home run, or a strikeout. It's literally unwatchable.
You're a Yankees fan, right?
What's that?
You're a Yankees fan, right?
Yeah.
Die hard.
How do you feel about your team throwing Chapman out there? At this point, doesn't he have to be a setup man? To continue to throw that guy on the mound in the 8th and 9th inning is a tragedy. He has proven time and time again he cannot do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's elite in the regular season, but he gives up these big home runs in the postseason.
And he sweats so much.
devastating.
He looks nervous. Like the whole time he's on the mound, he looks like he doesn't want to be there. Like Kevin Starks, when he had those 2 free throws in Indiana, looked like he wanted no part of them. Missed them. Like you can just tell. He looks in high leverage situations like he doesn't want to be there, and he pitches like it too.
And you know what's different between Chapman? So we had Garrett Cole, and we still lost the game. You know why? Because the Rays put out 4 different pitchers. All of these pitchers throw just as fast as Chapman, but they have elite control and ridiculous breaking balls. Chapman has been elevated to he's the best closer in the league. But he doesn't throw 103 anymore. So it's basically these Astros hitters can hit 100-mile-per-hour fastballs. So it's just that's another analytical disaster. Game 2 was an absolute joke, complete joke, and it's at the highest level. You can't even blame Boone. Boone is not making these decisions. This is an organizational decision to throw out one of their better pitchers and take him out after the first inning to put Happ in the game, and then put Chapman in the 7th inning. Really, it's just analytics have destroyed the Yankees, and baseball is just basically unwatchable at this point.
I can't wait to see Le'Veon Bell on the Pats. I know that's off topic, but boy, is he going to look good in the Pats uniform.
Well, Whitey, with that segue, we appreciate you calling in, man, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Whitey.
All right, fellas. Talk to you guys next week.
All right, later, big guy. So some good stuff. Whitey bringing the stats tonight about that Steelers defense. I mean, that defense, that front has been, absolutely ridiculous.
I think a lot of the teams in the AFC have taken steps back. The Chiefs, I mean, they have Patrick Mahomes. At the end of the day, they're going to be a playoff game. We're going to pick the Chiefs. But the Ravens secondary is terrible.
Awful.
And the Steelers defense is legit. And if Big Ben can stay healthy, which is probably not going to happen, but if he just, manages the game, let that defense. The other thing too is one more thing. The Ravens, they're best at guarding the run. The Ravens make Lamar Jackson throw the ball, and you can beat them.
Yeah, because Lamar Jackson can't throw. We've said it before, over and over again. But the guy averages 160 passing yards a game, and when he's not throwing to his binky and Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown, I mean, you're really challenging the guy, and he just. I guess that brings up a bigger thing for me. I mean, how long do you guys think Lamar Jackson will be good? And do you think the Ravens will pay him?
I think he'll be good as long as he's healthy, and I think they're going to beat the Steelers by 2 touchdowns. I know that's not what you asked, but I just think he's a player that is almost entirely dependent on matchup. And I think when you're the Steelers and you have a bunch of north and south linebackers who are trying to rush the gaps, he's a guy who can fake you out with a fake handoff and shoot to the outside. He's going to get there before a linebacker. And now, because of the zone blitz scheme that the Steelers play, he's 25 yards downfield.
Steelers are beating the Ravens. You heard it here first.
2 touchdowns. When was the last time the Ravens beat the Steelers by 2? Those games are always close.
The Steelers are going to wax the Ravens.
Yeah, but I never.
Ravens
predict that they're gonna
got
win by 2
exposed
touchdowns.
by the Chiefs. They're about to get.
How do you get exposed by the
Steelers.
number 1 team in the league? Oh, they got exposed by the Lakers.
Didn't the number 1 team just lose to the Raiders? Because that doesn't sound like a number 1 team to me, Frank.
When we were a number 1 seed, we lost to the Dolphins in Miami.
Oh God!
When we were a number 1 team, we lost to the Dolphins in Miami. When we were a number 1 team, we lost to the Kansas City Chiefs.
So
Guys,
good at sports.
Guys,
the
I think we
Raiders.
can all agree that before this year, the AFC was the Chiefs. No matter what, there wasn't like the Ravens might have had a chance. Those teams have taken steps back to make it more a level playing field, and I think the Steelers are an unknown team that no one's talking about. Everyone's talking about the Bills so much. Well, they're playing a team for the first time this year. They've had the easiest schedule, I think, so far.
And they're getting their doors blown off.
No, they're coming back. I mean, granted, they played the Rams. The Rams are pretty good, but they haven't played anybody yet. Let's take a step back on the Bills. I think this AFC is a lot more close than people thought going into the year.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that we've seen Kansas City actually look mortal, in the past couple weeks, right? We've seen Oakland be able to take them out. We saw San Diego, we saw the LA almost be able to take them out as well. So with Patrick Mahomes, you're always going to be in it. You're always going to, I'm not going to be betting against you. If I still had to bet, I'd probably say that the Chiefs are going to be back there again if I had to, guess. But I think they've come back a lot closer to the pack, and they actually look like someone you can beat. I mean, they look like a team that hasn't, not the team that hasn't lost since last November.
That's why the Pats have a chance to just get to the AFC Championship game. You never know what's going to happen. I'm just saying that. It's not as clear as the top 2 teams as everyone thought it was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, we don't know when the Pats are even going to play again, That's the only thing.
Stunning
Hopefully that Bill Belichick can hold out long enough to wait for Cam Newton to come back.
Yep, that's definitely don't want to see Hoyer again.
2 teams have had problems, and the Patriots are one of them. If you asked me before the season what teams might cause the league to move a game, the Patriots would have been the 32nd team out of my name. And there's 2 teams that have had problems with this thing, and we're one of them. What a surprise!
Yeah, I'm sure we'll lose a first-round draft pick, maybe 6. Who knows?
All right. Well, with that, we will cut it here for another edition of Open Season. We'll catch you all next week. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and again, we'll see you next week. Thank you from the crew. I'm Billy Allen, and for Brian Murphy, Justin, Alex, and Frank, we'll catch you next week. Just not sure that Kyler Murray is big enough. This is Tom Brady. He's not just going to retire. Whitey, big fan of the show. Appreciate I've got Brian Murphy to my left, making sure everything's smooth, crispy, buttery. James Harden is systematically ruining the game of basketball. He's the most overrated player. And there you are, the Chicago Bears with a championship.